Hi healing fam, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing great. In today's video we're going to talk about the infantilization of women, or the women with a mindset of being treated as a princess in long-term relationships. Let's talk about it. Let's dive right into it. I'll come back with my take on it. Leave me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Let's keep this conversation going. Okay, bye.
If a man has a healthy understanding that women are children and you are not in this adversarial back and forth with an adult, you're in this back and forth with a 7-year-old. So imagine you having a daughter and your daughter comes up and says, you broke, you're this and that. You're going to be like, what are you talking about? What do you want? Come here. Why are you so mad? You're literally going to comfort her because you mad about something. You're not mad at me. What's really bothering you? And you're actually going to comfort her. The same thing with your lady. When she starts talking all kinds of crazy stuff or whatever, she's not mad at you. You triggered her and she's now in regression and she's literally talking to her mother or her father. And she's a 7-year-old child in regression. So all she really wants is for you to be like, you know what? Come here. What's going on? Talk to me. She doesn't want to argue. She wants attention. She wants to be heard. She wants to feel safe.
So a quick Google dive on Psychology Today give me this definition of infantilization of women, treating women as, men choosing to treat women as children. And this has been how society, mindset, misogyny, around women in general, and what is deemed to be more palatable, attractive, more feminine in the eyes of most men, not all men. The infantilization definition is when someone treats an adult as if they were a child, primarily through the use of demeaning practices. The infantilization of women is when others, usually men, treat adult women as children, most often concerning sexism and misogyny. Most common manifestations of infantilization are linguistic, such as oversimplifying explanations, using demeaning nickname, for example, sweetheart or honey, especially when you barely know them and they call you that. Oh, that pisses me off. Or suggesting that the infantilized person would not understand a topic without reason, especially when it comes to finances. There's a lot of men who do this in long-term relationships and act like they know best, especially when it comes to money. You cannot question them. What do you know about money? I run businesses. I have gone to so and so school. I know better, where the whole time they are mismanaging finances, and they do that to shut you off, to silence you, for you to be quieted in order for you to not keep asking for accountability when it comes to money, to shut down the conversation. When you're in a relationship where anytime you have concerns, it seems to be shut down or shut off and not considered and not respected and infantilized in that way, or your ideas are always here, and there's this level of differential of power when it comes to mindset, ideology regarding certain topics, especially when it comes to, and also when it comes to sex. I know a lot of men, maybe more advanced sexually, know more because of maybe porn and these things like that, or starting to have SES earlier on than women. Once again, it goes back to how women are viewed as, oh, you gotta be clean or not have too many body counts or have to be a virgin before be married. And that doesn't even sustain the marriage, because after a while men get tired of same old, or a woman who might be considered too green or not knowing becomes too boring for them. But anyway, I don't want to digress. Let me go back to talking about the explanation. Or suggesting that the topic, okay, such as pinching somebody's cheek or offering a woman's a hug when offering a man a handshake. Right. Yeah, right there. So men like more like handshake, and if it's a woman like hugging them, it's like more like treating them like a child, like, oh, you need to be hugged. The infantilization of women often also involves regulating their appearances and with social spheres they can occupy, such as what type of job they can hold. From a psychological perspective, someone using infantilization behavior conveys a sense of superiority over the other person and can cause psychological damage, and often frustrating dynamic can arise from that type of behavior. So yeah, and there's a lot of men in, the manosphere, the red pillars, believe that, women need to be relegated to, the household, like doing the basic stuff, like what type of even jobs that you're, so like you're too strong or powerful, you're a woman who's running businesses or want to climb the corporate ladder or like to earn money or have financial independence or like to ask questions to hold them accountable. Or, a lot of men believe women have to be relegated to taking care of the kids, cooking, cleaning, and beyond that, or even when there's a gathering, like, they're hanging out with their friends. There's a lot of men right now who still have mindset of 1910, 1920 mindset, where you're hanging out and it's like the men are here and the women are here. And it's like, these men are talking about money and stuff like that. And women are talking about, the recipes or whatever. And if you have to weigh in, or you are so knowledgeable about finance, you want to weigh in on their conversations, almost like especially in my culture, I come from Ghana, I come from Africa, a lot of the men will be like, that's not your place. It's not direct anymore, but there's a layer of, how dare you try to have this convo. Like, let's say your man is like, okay, businesses, they have this like top tier leaders or whatever they are, or pastors or what, you know what I'm talking about. And you're having all this convo, you're cooking, you're serving them, and they're having a whole conversation. Can you budge in and have that conversation alongside them and rub shoulders, and for your opinion to be respected and be like, oh yeah, babe, that's a really great point, or respected and like accommodated. You know what I mean? Without infantilizing or dismissing or being quiet about it. Like the quiet part is where you seem like dismissed. Like, who are you again? Okay, let's talk about it. Okay, bye.
It's called the infantilization of women, when people treat women like children. Stay with me. I want you to think about this for a second. How do we describe women when they're in either relationships, right? We use words like baby. And yeah, totally, there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's a term of endearment and affection. But let's continue it on. When you open TikTok and you see couples interacting with each other, it's like, my girlfriend has the zoomies. Oh my God, it's time for bed and she has the zoomies and she wants me to interact and play with her. That's one example. Another interesting example is when it's like, well, my girlfriend needs snacks or she's gonna get super cranky and then we can't get anything done. But then she doesn't know what snack she wants because she's so indecisive. My all-time favorite is, let me open that for you, girl. Let me take care of you. I got you. I can really take care of you. And all of these things are kind of implying that women are not capable of being adults, right? This way you talk to them, this infantilization, talking to them like they're children, not seeing their independence as people, and this interesting dynamic that you see in a lot of women where their partners feel like their parents, like their husbands or boyfriends seem like their father figures and they seem like little girls. Narratives like these reinforce the idea that women cannot either comprehend or function the same way men can. And it also keeps pushing this narrative and reinforcing that women are more childlike when they are not. That women need guidance in order to function in society, when factually, when we look at the evidence, that's not true. Women are educators. They have a lot of professions. We've seen women who are CEOs, but then it is just so interesting that sometimes in these intimate dynamics, why are women reduced to being treated as children? And one of the obvious answers is that it's rooted in the patriarchy. But if it's rooted in the patriarchy, why haven't women broken out of this? Like, is this something that we want? And to a degree, there is a psychological component to it that we also enable it, that we also like to feed into that narrative. Is that right or wrong? Debatable. What's your opinion? Like and follow for more, or ask me more questions. I can link articles, and I'm going to link an amazing article that talks all about this with a lot of amazing researchers so you can get the full picture.
This is my second take on the infantilization of women, the mindset of treating women as a princess, or women actually wanting the princess treatment without considering providing that for themselves first. And whatever a man will bring to it is icing on the cake. And if you're with a man who doesn't embrace that version of you, or you having that mindset of being open to be treated like a princess, but you're open to treating yourself first, so filling your cup, that minimizes toxicity overall in marriages. But if a man who doesn't embrace that and think, oh, that's too much, you wanting to provide for yourself and being independent, especially financially, it's a threat to his ego, or is too masculine, you're being too masculine, you're being too driven, you're being too competitive with men, you want to be, literally, sometimes I've been told in past relationships or situationships, I should call it that I'm too manly. But now, with the advent of social media and hearing the collectives of other women with a similar mindset, I liberated myself completely by going to therapy. Oh, okay, I'm gonna calm down. So princess treatment. Wanna be treated like a princess, give me that whatever notification. Hey, I booked that spot for you. But you're not coming from a thirsty place, because if you don't get it, you can say things like, hey, babe, it would be nice for you to, maybe my birthday, I love to go here and there. But if that fails, you can literally do it for yourself. It can feel a little bit of a stink, but you'll be okay with it, because you can feel that fulfillment on your own without coming from a maybe bitter or angry or thirsty place. You can feel the feeling of like, oh, I wish that could be provided for me, but if not, cool. Having that agency, building yourself by going back to school, building your businesses, working towards constantly learning financial independence, knowledge about finance and managing, investing, even as a woman, is key. And wanting to provide yourself a stable life, and attracting and wanting a partner who is also have the same mindset of stability, especially when it comes to finance, because when your finances is like, it's a shit show, everything's a shit show. But having that ongoing repair, learning and unlearning, building and all that is so key. So, I don't know how much time I have, but like one of the first takes, this man who was talking about.
If a man has a healthy understanding that women are children, and you are not in this adversarial back and forth with an adult, you're in this back and forth with a 7-year-old. So imagine you having a daughter, and your daughter comes up and says, you broke, you're this and that. You're going to be like, what are you talking about? What do you want? Come here. Why are you so mad? You're literally going to comfort her, because you mad about something. You're not mad at me. What's really bothering you? And you're actually going to comfort her. The same thing with your lady. When she starts talking all kinds of crazy stuff or whatever, she's not mad at you. You triggered her, and she's now in regression, and she's literally talking to her mother or her father. And she's a 7-year-old child in regression.
He kind of have a point. Excuse me, guys, I have some work going on in my space, so it's a little background noise. But the fact that he constantly is describing women as 7-year-old is problematic, but he might have some of the good point where like your lady, maybe it's like, flipping out or whatever, having a moment. Like that moment of like, hey, babe, come here, and giving her a hug settles everything. That's why babies calm down by soothing, by hugging. So that same concept can be applied to adult relationship. But the fact that he's comparing constantly that to a child, for me, I don't settle well. So this is my second take here.
Princess treatment is infantilization of women. Is not treating them as princesses, is treating them as little girls. telling them that they shouldn't worry about things that they should actually worry about. Because being an adult means you worry about bills. You know how to pay bills. You understand there's bills to be paid. Because adulthood comes with responsibilities and also the great privilege of being responsible.
I'm gonna put her clip there. She has a great point. But yeah, as women, having that agency, that's why I drive that point. Agency over your life, including that big part, the finances, the financial health, the knowledge, willing to learn. If you have a man who is not willing for you to learn about finances or knowing about your finances, where the money you go in, the bills, the investment, all of it, everything is a surprise. That's a problem that you should really either look at, bring a third party into it, or run. My third real quick before I run out of, because I'm like going to 6 minutes. Actually, hold on, because I don't want to lose my time. Okay, bye.
It's interesting that you should draw that connection between protecting and providing for women and children, because there is a connection. And this might rub people the wrong way, because I understand that a grown adult woman is not a child and she doesn't need to be infantilized or treated exactly like a child. But women are the ones who bear the burden of carrying children, raising children, birthing children, all of that. So of course, there's going to be an overlap, because by providing for a woman, by protecting a woman in the way that I was discussing in that video, a man is, in fact, protecting his future children. A woman's health and happiness actually significantly impact the well-being of her children. Children whose mothers are happy and are able to be relaxed and not stressed out all the time have fewer behavioral problems, they do better in school, they have better mental health growing up, and they just thrive across the board. It's one of those, I think, uncomfortable truths that people don't like to talk about, because people's circumstances, can't always be helped, and we have enough guilt as mothers, okay? I know, I'm a mother. We always try to do the best for our children, but I think it's important to talk about when we're talking about in the context of picking who you're going to partner with, who you're going to have children with, and the role that the father plays, because it's an important role. And it's not just being a good father, it's also being a good husband and a good partner. And too often I see men treating the mothers like dog poop, and then claiming that they're good fathers because they take their kids to the zoo or buy them stuff. We're forgetting that their role is also not just to provide for their children, but to protect and provide for the mother of their children. And even if women don't want to have children, which I fully support, by the way, I'm not preaching that all women need to be mothers, 100% support women who want to be child-free, but just understand that biologically we are the ones who are designed to have children, and so even if you want to be child-free, you still have to deal with the repercussions of that. When we talk about women wanting provider men, it's not that women are incapable of taking care of themselves and need a man to take care of them. Absolutely not. Women are more than capable of taking care of themselves, but it's just that if you are going to partner with a man, why would you do that if that man is not going to be your provider and your protector? You can just take care of yourself by yourself. And it's really no coincidence that, in my experience, the men who have that sort of provider mentality, they always make the best partners, the best husbands, regardless of whether the couple wants children or not, whether the wife will work or not. They just do. They focus their time and their energy on making their wives happy, and then in turn, their wives have the mental and emotional space to focus on making him happy, making the relationship happy. They are the epitome of, give the woman a house and she turns it into a home. So yeah, I think statements like this are fatuous and dismissive of very real issues that women face in relationships.
Let's talk about how women infantilize themselves, but also the role that society plays in that happening, more specifically the patriarchy. I'm sure we've all seen some form of this before, whether it's a woman using like a baby voice or being really over sexualized, but also having a babyish sort of aesthetic or a babyish sort of voice to accompany that over sexualized image. Or women acting like they're incompetent around men and saying that they turn off their brains when they're with their boyfriends, or just acting like naive and everything. On the surface, you could say that this is just pick-me women trying to get male attention or whatever, but why does that get them male attention? Why do men also enjoy this behavior? Not all of them, but some do. A lot do. We kind of have to view how we sexualize youth in society, where women get praised for looking younger than they are. That doesn't really happen as much with men. How women get shamed for aging, while men are usually like they age better or they get better with age or whatever. The obsession that society has with purity and virginity and tying a woman's sexual desires to her level of innocence. The way terms like barely legal and jailbait exist. The popularization of calling men daddy and sexualizing those types of dynamics. Stars like Britney Spears, Marilyn Monroe, having those and Paris Hilton having those baby voices and still being deemed as very sexy. This all comes together to enforce the idea that the most desirable women are young and inexperienced. Sexy schoolgirl, an innocent but hot trope in movies and TV shows. Men are conditioned to like women like this, and women are conditioned to behave like this because a woman that is naive, soft-spoken, doesn't stand up for herself, and things like that is going to be more attractive to someone who benefits from women's subjugation. They don't want a woman that is speaking in an assertive voice, that is competent on her own, that can do all those things, that is not resembling a child in some capacity, whether it's because she's hairless, whether she looks sort of like a child. People love that. Men love that. And this behavior from women doesn't come from nothing. It comes from patriarchal conditioning, like so many other things. This isn't just about having a preference or wanting a woman that you can lead. It's about a sort of conditioning that hurts women and benefits men. Men are not children. We do not need to be dependent of men. We do not need to make ourselves smaller, quieter, etc. in order to be desirable. And anyone that thinks otherwise has some serious issues that they need to work through, including misogyny and pedophilic tendencies, which tends to be a bigger issue with men that watch porn, because that shit is full of pedophilic undertones, and sometimes it's very overt. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments. If you have anything to add, if you have any experiences, just let me know.
Women like that, they don't listen to their husbands. They don't respect their husbands. They come on social media and say, you know what? He's such a narcissistic man. He's such a misogynistic man. It don't matter what English you learn from Twitter. The question is, the man told you to stop making this kind of hair, but your friend Fumi said the hair is what was raining, and then you made the hair, and now you're trying to sound butchy. Who are you trying to sound English for? We don't like the hair. You remove it. You go back to the hairdressing salon and said, I told you to remove it. That's the way we roll. Authority is authority. And if you don't want the authority, don't marry the authority. Come on. Don't marry the authority. You had your eyes open before you say you love the authority.
Every day on TikTok, I am convinced that most African pastors are not called by any God. They became pastors out of poverty, hunger, and the need to earn a living, because they stand on their pulpit and they don't preach about salvation. They are always talking about marriage, and they're situating marriage within the context of patriarchy, misogyny, and sexism. I say this all the time. Most men don't consider women as equals. Most men, especially African men, see women as beneath men. And that is the reason why they treat women as children. They infantilize a woman. So because a woman is your wife and she got a hairstyle that she likes or her friend recommended, but you don't like, you have to give her an order to go and take the hair down because you don't like it. I don't understand how some of you African pastors think. She is your wife, she's your partner, she's not your child. You are not going to command her, go and take it down. You should be under authority. Most of you African men can barely discipline your manhood. Most of you African pastors, you cheat on your wife, you sleep around, even your penis, you can't discipline it. Yet you be talking to women as if women are children. And I want to ask, if the woman is under the man's authority and the man is under God's authority, is that how God talks to the men? Is that how your God talks to you as a man? Come on, do this. Get that off. Is that how God talks to you? No. But you see, every day, most of you African pastors are proven to us based on your preaching, which is what? The fruits you are bearing. Indicates that you were not called by any God. Most of you became pastors out of hunger, poverty, and the need to manipulate people to earn an income. Dear African pastors, focus on salvation and leave the marriage and the relationship talk alone. Even salvation from God is not forced on you. You have to choose. But because you married a woman, you have become the authority over her life. And you are just commanding her anyhow, simply because I am the man. I am the one with authority. Most of you African pastors should be ashamed of yourselves because you are not a good representative of Christ. Christ led in humility, in love, in empathy, and with compassion. However, most of you African pastors are dictators hiding under the guise of religion to oppress women. My name is Dr. Zita. I am a sociologist. I said what I said. If you're not following, guess what? Hit the follow button.
Raised to relate to my husband as if he was my parent, more specifically as if he was my father. And this husband daddy would be the most important person of my life, and I would have to structure my life around his wants, needs, and desires. This was never explicitly stated by my parents, but it was explicitly stated in all of the books on our shelves. This husband daddy figure basically was developed by John Piper, C.J. Mahaney and his wife Carolyn, Doug Wilson and his wife Nancy Wilson, Michael Pearl and Debbie Pearl, Nancy Campbell, Jenny Chancey, Doug Phillips, etc., etc., etc. Because under patriarchy and complementarianism, women are subject to men. And so if you are still a daughter in the home, the man in your life is your father. And then when you get married, your father transfers authority of you to your husband. And so this husband daddy figure, after you get married, is your husband. And you don't relate to him as an equal. You relate to him as if he is above you. I did not realize how deeply ingrained this misogyny was, like, within myself until I got married. And after a couple of years of marriage, like 2 or 3 years of marriage, my husband said, please stop telling me where you were going when you leave the house. Because up to that point, every time I left to go somewhere, I would give him the rundown. And what he said was, you're an adult. You don't need to ask permission. You can just leave the house. Plus, we share locations with each other. If I need something from you, I'll text you and ask. I didn't even realize how much I had been relating to my own husband as if he was my parent, someone that I needed to ask permission from. And so when I see this comment about church women convincing their husbands to have a night out with friends, it just affirms to me that Christian women have been so infantilized that we are treated like children. Even when we get married, we are expected to basically obey our husband daddy, and that should infuriate all of us.
Princess treatment is infantilization of women. Is not treating them as princesses, is treating them as little girls. Telling them that they shouldn't worry about things that they should actually worry about. Because being an adult means you worry about bills. You know how to pay bills. You understand there's bills to be paid. Because adulthood comes with responsibilities and also the great privilege of being responsible for yourself, which means you have choices. But women have been taught to give those adult-like responsibilities, their agency, to a man, under the pretense of that man taking care of them. So they're going to be treated like princesses because they're going to be given the things that they could just have by being adults, right? So it's time to be a little bit more careful as to how we're using the terms that we're using and the ideas we have of what it's like to be taken care of or provided for, outside of the themes that are reminding us that men like it better when we are little girls, when we act like little girls, when we look like little girls, when we need them like little girls need their daddy. And so that's problematic, right? So beyond thinking, oh, the man is supposed to provide and all of that,
When a grown woman gets on here and says, I don't know how to pay a bill. I'm a little princess. I don't even know what bills are. That's not safe. Because when we surrender our entire well-being onto a man without having our own bank account, our own finances in order, our own means to make money or increase our income or whatever, if we're not financially literate, that means that whoever is taking care of our livelihood can withdraw that care when we're no longer complying in the way that they want us to. And then what do? We're going to have to grow up when we're 40, 50, 60, 70. Or we will even stay because we can't make it on our own. Right? So princess treatment as such, being treated like a little princess, is problematic. You want to be treated like a grown woman. You want to be respected. You want to be taken care of. But within environments that seem like they view you as a grown adult woman and not a little child that is agencyless and they'd have to take care of you because you can't do it on your own. And they find that to be absolutely cute.